Alright, so this is the third boss of the raid. Could be second, could be fourth, really depends on tuning. This is on King Salhadaar. So let's get into this. The very first mechanic that he has is to spread messes on normal and Heroic. This is going to pick two of these portals that are around the room. There's three in total. It's roughly the same floor pattern. And you see sort of right here, it's going to activate on them. These are going to summon concentrated voids. These ads must die before they touch the boss. And they will just slowly fixate and move towards the boss until they either hit the boss or they enrage at 100 energy and gain movement speed to move towards the boss. Very important on Heroic, we do want to focus these down one at a time with some incident to cleave on the other ad. When these ads die on Heroic, they're going to leave an 8-second dot, and this can be stacked and extended if you kill them too close to each other. A boss casted a raid wide move. This puts a 22-second dot. Baseline, this isn't a concern, but in combo with other mechanics, it starts becoming a concern. We'll talk about this mechanic first. So fractured images. These will deal raid wide if the cast finishes, and they'll leave a void zone as indicated by their puddles. On the one you look, you're just going to kick them when you see them. So 5 people are just going to kick all these ads around the room. Right here, you're going to get the main issue with this 22-second dot, and it only appears on Heroic and Mythic. So right here, this is another dot mechanic, despotic command. They killed one of the ads. You get this 8-second dot, as said earlier. And then this despotic command is getting this 12-second debuff. So this 12-second debuff used to be a magic dispel. I don't believe it is anymore. This will do a lot of damage to anyone inside your tiny circle. And then at the end of this debuff, you're going to jump a void zone. General rule of thumb is you want to draw these around the room, preferably not anywhere near the portals, or you're going to want to drop these spread out around the room without overlapping, because they will combine and grow, similar to any type of void zones like Bandit or Asageth or whatever. So the problematic spot right here is this boomkin has 3 different dot on them. It's 3 different sources of watt damage, and this is basically what you're going to want to plan your defensives around. We just killed a concentrated void. You still have the 22-second dot. Now you have the spread debuff. This is where healers are basically just going to have to focus the person, and this person it should be using defensives or whatever they can to survive. This is heroic, so they don't really have to do all that much, but you can see the ticks every now and then as it happens. Other heroic change. This is a tank buster. There's pretty sizable damage to the tank. I think it's around 900k to 1.5 mil. So these are decent, strong defensive. On heroic, this tank buster will also pop up on other people as well. These are not immediate line AoEs. These are spikes that grow and expand from the person, as seen here. Each spike does damage ticks. If you're caught in 3 of them, you're probably dead. So aim these away from the group. For the tank, you want to make sure that you do something very similar to what this tank is doing, where there are 2 lines, or basically making it so that the back of the boss is safe. Don't make it questionable for where the raid is standing. Some more stuff should be done by the rest of the raid. So that's most of P1. This will repeat another time. I'm just going to skip on ahead. As for the tank stuff, we were just talking about tank buster. This tank buster that is happening right here, this does not put a vuln that would prevent the tank from taking a few more auto attacks after. The means of this vuln is going to do is it's going to prevent that tank from taking the next tank buster. The means of that the tanks will be swapping over with is this stack in debuff. This is from the boss's melee, and it puts a 15-second dot that ticks every 1 second. You generally want to swap around 6 to 10 stacks. You can go up to 12 stacks. I would say 13 is going to push it, just due to the amount of shadow damage it's going to be doing. You see somewhere around here, this thing is at 15. It's doing a decent chunk every now and then. It's rogue, so it doesn't matter all too much on Mythic. 15 stacks is pretty rough to deal with. Generally, this tank swap will happen sometime in the middle of these orbs going around, usually around 10 to 15 seconds before the tank buster activates. So let's move on. So part of the reason why I would preferably keeping these spread puddles either all the way on the edge or somewhere towards the middle is the tanks will want to position the boss near the edge but not quite on the edge, because there's a rotating laser beam that we'll be dealing with during the intermission. So we're going to go into the Stink Buster. Boss about hit 100 energy. At 100 energy, he's going to plant. And as soon as this channel starts up, this is going to put a 25% damage amp on the boss for 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Specifically 20 seconds. And the boss is going to randomly rotate these lasers clockwise or counter, similar to Nexus King adds on the platforms. And we want enough space that we're able to move around the backside of the boss. After this cast finishes, the boss is going to drop a void zone. And this void zone is a lot larger than the void zones that everyone else is dropping. I would probably say the size of these AoEs is roughly the size of the kick ads, if the things need a reference point. Right here, you can see roughly these circles are a lot bigger than the ones that people are randomly dropping. These are roughly the size of what the boss itself will drop. We'll continue this intermission dance 3 times. So it's 2 sets of orbs in P1, and then it's intermission. Another 2 sets of orbs in P1, another second intermission, 2 more sets of orbs, third intermission, and then it goes into Enrage. And that's the fight on normal and heroic. Mythic emphasizes a lot more on the tank's positioning. So it's going to change on Mythic. There's 2 different changes. Let's talk about the mechanic that the tanks aren't fully dealing with, since that's the one that goes up first. It'll be this fraction projection, the images cast. So when these images spawn, 5 of them are going to start off with varying stacks of a shield debuff. And these ones you're not going to be able to kick. In order to kick them, you have to kick the ad that's actually kickable. And when you kick this ad, it's going to remove 1 stack of the shield debuff. So it's basically a kick in sequential order. There's a few ways that we could do this mechanic. One of them would be to use the Northern Skyway Tours add-on and assign a kick order. And then people would have to pay attention to where their specific kick ad is around the arena. The other one would be to assign areas of the map for people to be kicking in. And that would partially involve having backups in the event that one zone is overflooded. So if we continue on, you'll see right here, a concentrated void was defeated right around here, and now it's living behind a corpse. What's going to happen is the next time the boss is going to create ads, which on this difficulty is called Void Convergence instead of Desperate Measures. All of these previously defeated ads are going to also resurrect. And these small ads, the Enduring Voids, have the same properties that they cannot touch the boss or else the raid will wipe. They do use the property that when you kill them, they'll put an 8-second dot. So the goal of these enduring voids is to just group them up and then CC these, GC these, and then just mow them down. You can't CC them. For these early ads, you most likely don't need to CV. Like if it's just 2 enduring voids on the second set of ads, you probably don't need to CV this. But as these enduring voids stack up, the next cycle would have 4 enduring voids, for example. We would want to add more and more, just because a majority of the damage is on the concentrated voids. One stuff to note is that on the later sets, you'll probably notice it here. When the tanks are cutting the boss, the tanks are kind of just doing whatever with the boss. Because realistically, most of the DPS should not be on the boss until we're down to 1 concentrated void. When we're down to 1 concentrated void, it realistically depends on how close is it to the boss, can we cleave it, and then how much HP does it have. So right here you'll notice this concentrated void hits 100 energy. Everyone is on this. There's not a single DPS that's left on the boss. They're all just slamming into this concentrated void to make sure it dies. And then you'll notice that the tank is dragging it quite far. The boss does cast a whole bunch of times throughout this whole entire movement, and it's important for the tanks to recognize when he's going to stop to do the few or so casts that he does. So if I was to go all the way back, right here, we're coming up to the spotter command. This is the spotter command. He's going to stop for a short bit, quick 1 to 2 second to cast. Very important that he does enough distance that in 1 to 2 seconds this orb will not touch the boss. And then the next big cast will be on the Shadow and Twilight Tank Buster. Once he's entered Shadow and Twilight, he is stuck though for the 5-second cast. So make sure that right before Shadow and Twilight activates, as a tank you're dragging as far as possible. Or at least enough space so that by the time this orb hits 100 energy, it still has some level of space to get to the boss so that people have extra time to finish it off. Aside from that, this boss is for the most part roughly the same. You see here, when people have these thoughts, externals of flying about, it's a few defensives, not really a whole lot. And these people over here with their debuffs, a few people are using their defensives. It's not really all that much. And then if you have any leftover defensives and you don't really need them for the next combo mechanics, you should be using your defensives probably towards the early sections of this. I'd probably say the first half of it, the first 10 seconds. There's a good chance that healers aren't fully ramped up by that point. And then near the end, the last 5-ish seconds, you could just rely on healer throughput to finish off the rest. But yeah, that is the fight on Mythic. And then as for some timers, you could see right on here at 14 seconds and 1 minute, these are the ads spawning, and then these casts over here are the fractured projection for the kick ads. So these early ones don't really matter all too much. I would probably say on Mythic, you don't have to worry about the ads all too much until we start getting to 3-minute sets. And these last 3, you definitely need to worry. Even though there's a damage amp on this Cosmic Unraveling at 140, 345, 547, 749 for damage amps, we do want some level of CDs on these. But yeah, that's the fight.